This week's theme is the power of community and connection, right? So during the coming months, we tend to gather more with family and friends around this time of year, right? So it's a perfect time to reflect on the meaning of community and the meaning of connection. Our relationships are the social connections that provide us with this sense of belonging, right? We all want to feel like we belong. And they also contribute to greater meaning and purpose in our life and also improve our overall well-being, right? Positive relationships. They can provide us with the love and encouragement that we may need to persevere. And perseverance is one of our strengths that really does build resilience. Our relationships and place in the community not only give us this important sense of belonging, but it also allows us to connect to something greater than ourselves, right? It allows us to also recognize our interconnectedness with all other living beings. And it promotes a more cooperative outlook. So it also gives us this understanding that we are just a small part in the monumental fabric of existence, of what came before us and what will come long after we're gone, right? So that there's this enduring and eternal quality to our world that's so much bigger than we are. And it's important for us to recognize that. The truth is that we're just like a shooting star in the history of the universe. And there's something very humbling and maybe also wondrous about that. It can help us get out of that small-mindedness we find ourselves in sometimes, or that self-absorbed, some of those self-absorbed tendencies that we all as humans have. So we have two levels of mind, right? There's the personal mind and the impersonal mind. The personal mind, well, that's the place where our ego rests. It's our sense of individuality, the sense of self. It's the place of storytelling, which are all very important, but it's also the place of rumination and worry. And then we have our impersonal mind. This is the place we're drawn to focus on what's infinite and eternal. And it can really be easily accessed when we're in the natural world. That's why so many of us love to be in nature, right? When we can connect to something much bigger than ourselves, right? So just stand outside and look up at the vast unending sky, or at the beach looking out over miles and miles of ocean, or at the base of a majestic mountain, right? But it can also be accessed by that sense of connection through community, through relationships, through our interconnectedness with every other living thing. So spend some time in nature, but also take time to nurture relationships. So be involved in your community and really honor our interconnectedness. So this is the perfect time of year to do this. It's a time of giving, and it's a time when we do tend to think about others, right? And we can pause and reflect on how might we be of service to others during this time of year, whether that's donating food or warm clothes, or simply giving a helping hand to a neighbor, right? So cultivate those connections that give us greater meaning, that build resilience, that connect us to the ineffable. And you'd be surprised, the resulting experience can be one of transcendence, right? So transcendence, it's when we feel we've risen above the everyday world and are connected to something really vast and meaningful. It's when our sense of self kind of washes away and we feel deeply connected to others and everything else that exists in the world. And this really can result in a greater sense of peace and well-being. And research actually shows that people who have had these transcendent experiences, and I'm not talking about capital T transcendent experiences, they can be small, but people consider them to be among the most meaningful experiences, and sometimes the most important events in their lives if it is a bigger transcendent moment. And, we can really achieve transcendence by, we can cultivate that, right? We can seek out awe-inspiring experiences, like listening to a beautiful piece of music, or looking at a beautiful piece of art, or going for a walk in the woods, or simply gazing up at the stars at night. And we can also develop a transcendence practice by meditating, reading poetry, or writing every day. So I invite you to put your phone away, remove distractions, and immerse yourself in the experience, and allow all sense of time and that outward world to just melt away, and invite transcendence, and invite joy and greater meaning into your life. Okay, so we're now going to move into our more formal portion of the meditation. So if you need to make any kind of adjustment to your posture, or maybe rolling your neck, giving a little bit of a stretch, and then just making yourself as comfortable as possible, even laying down if that's what's called for in this moment for you, if that's what feels supportive. And if it feels right for you, I'm going to invite you to also close your eyes, or simply soften the gaze. And then if you're closing your eyes, you can do so now. And then just inviting a sense of arrival in this space, in the chair that you're sitting in. And then inviting a sense of arrival at your own door, in your own body. Maybe you were transitioning from one activity to another, one room to another. So just allowing that sense of arriving home, home to your own being. Maybe just settling a little bit, softening into the chair that you're sitting in. And how does this feel in the body right now? And how is the breath? So really just bringing an awareness inward and seeing, how am I in this moment? Perhaps noticing there's a little bit of settling, but perhaps not. Perhaps for you, there's a little bit of restlessness. And just making space for whatever is here. But perhaps also using the contact points, the tactile, right? Feeling the feet on the floor, the sits bones in the chair. Maybe noticing how your hands are resting in your lap, and using these contact points as a way of further grounding into the body. Inviting a settling, a softening. Maybe even greeting yourself with a warm welcome. I'm here. And if you're noticing any gripping or tension anywhere at all in the body, perhaps inviting a softening in these areas. Inviting a softening in the belly, the shoulders, and the neck. In the jaw, or the forehead. And as you're inviting a softening throughout the body, perhaps feeling the support of our own body, feeling the support of the chair and the earth below. Knowing that we all share this one seat called Earth, this one seat that's embracing us all as we practice together and sit in meditation together. So maybe taking a moment to feel our connection to one another, even if we may be miles and miles apart, sensing this connection and maybe even sensing the interconnectedness of all things on this earth, of us as humans with other living animals, the trees. And then also knowing that this one seat that we share, it's not yours, it's not mine, and it's only ours for a limited time. So perhaps feeling into the power, right, that there's this power of our connection through this one seat that we all share. Allowing ourselves to honor our interconnectedness, to honor our common humanity. So maybe taking a moment to really tune into this awareness of being connected and what that feels like. Maybe understanding that we are actually never alone. Through our interconnectedness, we are never alone. So just taking a moment to maybe notice, are there any feelings that arise? Perhaps a sense of comfort, a sense of safety, maybe even a bit of joy. But regardless of whatever feelings are arising, making space for whatever's here. But if there is this sense of comfort or safety or even joy, maybe taking a moment to savor these feelings. Maybe even tuning into where in the body can they be felt? right? Maybe it's a warmth in the chest, fullness in the heart, a softness in the belly, or maybe there's just an overall sense of a little bit of ease. But just being aware, right? Feeling now the gentle movement of the body with each breath. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, but just being here in this moment. If the mind wanders away, that's perfectly fine. That's what our minds do. But when you notice, then just gently guiding it back. And focusing your attention on the breath like the narrow beam of a flashlight. Tuning into the breath. Maybe even noticing where the breath is most noticeable for you. Maybe it's the belly, the chest, the throat. Us tuning in to where the breath can most easily be felt in this moment. Maybe also noticing the qualities of the breath, whether it's easy or labored, long or short, deep or shallow, soft or harsh. Not needing to change it in any way, but just noticing how is the breath in this moment. Now expanding our awareness to incorporate the whole body breathing. So broadening our awareness from the narrow focus on the breath, expanding it to a broader focus, like broadening the beam of a flashlight that cuts a narrow path through the dark night to a floodlight that illuminates the entire night sky. Sweeping in and out of the body. And following the breath to each corner of the body. Being with the breath that is as it is sweeping through the entire body. And now The invitation is to expand your awareness even further. So taking a bird's eye view from above, just beginning to move your awareness further and further out. Looking down at the top of your home, then the tops of the trees on your street, your neighborhood, your community, your state, the country, the entire Northern Hemisphere. Continuing to broaden your awareness until the entire earth is below you. Expanding your awareness until you're above the stratosphere, looking down at the globe as a tiny, tiny speck of blue and green. And just feeling the expansiveness of this infinite universe. Tuning in to what this expansiveness feels like. Perhaps even allowing feelings of awe and wonder to arise at what can only be described as infinite and enduring. Maybe even taking a moment to savor the awe and wonder of all life on our planet and beyond. Sensing into and feeling the interconnectedness of all things and this enduring nature of something greater than ourselves. Knowing that we are part of this indescribable wonder of existence. Taking a moment to tune in to any feelings that may be arising, or maybe even noticing any physical sensations. But once again, allowing ourselves to savor whatever arises, perhaps even having a sense of gratitude. And just taking another moment to kind of be with this awe and wonder and expansiveness. And then as you're ready, beginning to narrow the focus of awareness until the earth begins to come into focus again. Seeing the North American hemisphere, our nation, the state or province you're living in, your community, the top of your tree-lined street or city block, top of your home, until you find your awareness back with you sitting in your chair and feeling the comfort and support of the chair and the earth below. Just returning your awareness to the breath. Releasing this practice and resting in your own experience just as it was and just as you are. As I read this poem, you can keep your eyes closed, or you can begin to wiggle fingers and toes. Unconditional by Jennifer Wellwood. Willing to experience aloneness, I discover connection everywhere. Turning to face my fear, I meet the warrior who lives within. Opening to my loss, I gain the embrace of the universe. Surrendering into emptiness, I find fullness without end. Each condition I flee from pursues me. Each condition I welcome transforms me and becomes itself transformed into its radiant jewel-like essence. I bow to the one who has made it so, who has crafted this master game. To play it is purest delight. To honor its form, true devotion. All right, so I invite you to gently open your eyes if they've been closed. And I would just like to thank you all for your practice. And thank you for your comments in the chat. And I'm going to leave you with a weekly invitation, as we usually do. And that's, I really invite you to take time to engage in an activity that sparks awe and wonder. And maybe you'll even have a transcendent moment. Remember that music is a language of the ineffable. Painting is a photograph of the ineffable. Poetry is an expression of the ineffable. And meditation is conversation with the ineffable. When we are actively more connected to life, we're more open, more able to connect to nature, more likely to experience awe and wonder, and more likely to connect to others in a deeper, more meaningful way. So I leave you with that invitation for the week. Have a wonderful week, everyone. It's so nice to have you all here. Bye for now.